Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. First and foremost, let me show you where I'm standing. Right behind me is the statue of Saint George, the patron of Moscow, that I have shown you before many times. And over there, across, actually, I see the orange building. Oh yeah, right there is the monastery in which I buy my icons that I started to collect. It's my new thing, to buy icons from every trip to Russia and to collect them, because they indeed have a powerful energy of protection, love, good prayer energy, and yeah, we have to protect ourselves from the demonic forces, right? Some of which come in the human form. What I have for you everyone today, it's a beautiful Sunday, so I hope all of you are having a great day as well. I have two topics for you. One is about Poland considering completely closing its borders with Belarus, and the second one is Poland was just as much to blame as Britain for sabotaging Spring 2022 peace talks. But before I jump into two articles, which both are very important in my opinion, I want to give an important correction to the announcement that I made yesterday, and that is about the live stream with Lynette Zang. I get, I think, too excited, if such a thing. I get excited from being here and I misread the confirmation email with the dates. So the date for the interview is actually in July, not June. 24th of July, not tomorrow. So apologies for that. Let's start with the article number one. Poland considers completely closing its border with Belarus. Tension has been growing on the Polish-Belarusian border recently due to migrants. Warsaw is considering closing all checkpoints, states Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski. As you know, every time I say his name, I remind all of us when Twitter, X platform was called Twitter, and famously Sikorski, after the Nord Stream pipeline, poof, he posted "Thank you USA," and then very quickly, when the entire world that cares about this went berserk, he removed that post. So this is our foreign minister, as all of you probably know who are watching my channel. And Sikorski says, we are now studying the consequences, if they close those checkpoints, this will have for our economy and local communities. He noted that like a few years ago, Poland is now suffering from an influx of migrants. They are trying to get to the European Union from Belarus. The Polish foreign minister believes that this is happening under the control of Belarusian and Russian services. It is particularly shocking, quoting Sikorski, that the functionaries of the Belarusian state instruct these people how to beat Polish soldiers and Polish border guards, even when our guys are wearing bulletproof vests. This is completely unacceptable. Sikorski said that the final decision to close the checkpoints will be made after analyzing the consequences. Okay, let me just comment on those bulletproof vests. What the heck are you talking about, man? Mateusz, who was the soldier who died after being stabbed with that knife, I told you this in, I think, 2 videos about it. He was not wearing a bulletproof vest. As a matter of fact, if he would be wearing that vest instead of a piece of clothing that has zero protection, just the color and a layer of the fabric on him, his life very much likely would be saved. So that's how honest, objective, truth-speaking and caring those people are. But by now, we all should know it, don't we, right? Second, quite lengthy, yet important article is from Zero Hedge, which is from June 19th. Perhaps some of you have already come across this article, but if you haven't, let me read this to you, because it is very shocking. Well, it is shocking to... The sound is shocking. It is shocking to what extent Poland has influenced the events during those peace talks that were taking place in Istanbul later on. It's unfortunate how big role Polish-speaking government has played in it. I just hope the music will not trigger the algorithm here. The title of this article is "Poland was just as much to blame as Britain for sabotaging Spring 2022 peace talks." This was authored by Andrew Korybko, I think I said correctly, via Substack. The New York Times published the full version of the Spring 2022 draft peace talk treaty between Russia and Ukraine over the weekend, which confirms a lot of what was previously reported, but also included some interesting details from unnamed diplomatic sources about why these talks ultimately failed. According to a European one who was present at the this is in quotation marks, extraordinary summit of NATO heads of state and government on 24th of March 2022, Polish President Andrzej Duda dramatically railed against this deal. Here are words from, I think, this diplomatic unnamed person. Leaders in Poland, early and strong supporters of Ukraine, feared that Germany or France might try to persuade the Ukrainians to accept Russia's terms, according to European diplomat, and wanted to prevent that from happening. Sorry for the noise, guys. I hope it will go away soon. No, here he comes. And if this triggers the video, then I really don't know. But I have to keep on talking. To that end, when Poland's President Andrzej Duda met with NATO leaders in Brussels on March 24th, he held up the March 17 text, said the diplomat who was present at the time. On that text, I believe, was some form of agreement that they will keep on convincing Ukraine to fight. And Duda asked, while he was holding this document, which of you would sign it? He asked his counterparts, the diplomat said. None of the NATO leaders spoke up. It was already observed on 29th of March 2022 that Poland's ruling party, in that time it was Law and Justice, Prawo i Sprawiedliwość in Polish, PiS, which has nothing to do with law and nothing to do with justice. In that time, Poland's ruling party helped provoke the worst security crisis since World War II, albeit for different reasons than what was just revealed, namely the way in which their self-interested anti-Russian fear-mongering helped reshape the US deep state dynamics. Now, there is no question that Poland was actively trying to sabotage the Russian-Ukrainian peace talks and that its efforts predated former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson in famous trip to Kiev. So do you see, guys? It looks like Poland is actually Poland. Well, Poland. When I speak Poland, we use the name of the countries, but you know exactly what I mean. All of you from United States, when we say United States, we don't mean entire country, entire population, all the people who work their butts off and pay taxes and try their best to just live their life. No, I'm talking about those Polish-speaking governments, British-speaking governments. Looks like Poland was first to create this disaster, and then Johnson closed the deal. President Putin confirmed in his interview with Tucker Carlson earlier this year what Zelensky's top ally, David, I don't know how you say his name, Arakhamia, disclosed in late November about how that leader convinced Ukraine to keep fighting. In his words, so this means Duda, who is now, FYI, in China. In his words, the fact that they obeyed the demand or persuasion of Mr. Johnson, the former Prime Minister of Great Britain, seems ridiculous and very sad to me. That's what Putin said. It's now known, however, that there was more leading up to this than even the Russian leader himself thought as recently as 4 months ago. So you see, how interesting, huh? So now we are coming to the beginning of this disaster that looks like the Russophobia took over. or I don't know what kind of blackmail they have on Polish-speaking government. Duda's dramatic display of March 2022's NATO meeting did more for unifying the West around the case of perpetuating their proxy war on Russia through Ukraine than anything else that's thus far been reported. This, in turn, greatly facilitated Johnson's subsequent trip to Kiev over 2 weeks later, when he was then able to convince his hosts that the West has their back if they keep fighting. His country and Poland also had an ace up their sleeves to play just in case France and Germany pushed for peace. They and Ukraine forged an informational alliance on February 17, 2022, in the literal week before the start of Russia's special operation, which evaded most observers' attention due to the fast-moving events that preceded the latest phase of this decade-long conflict. So, long as Poland was in favor of continuing hostilities, which nobody had any doubt about, but hadn't earlier known just how zealous it was, then the UK could rely on it as a land bridge for the emergency dispatch of military equipment to Ukraine. The whole point in agreeing to form this pact was to give Ukraine the ability to keep fighting if it chose to, in the event that conventional hostilities broke out with Russia, like they did a week later. Sorry guys for misreading today. I don't know, I think full moon or something. We are after full moon, by the way. Strawberry full moon. Ukraine knew that the UK's commitment was rock solid due to its centuries-long policy of dividing and ruling Europe, while Duda hyperbolically reaffirmed Poland's 2 weeks before Johnson's visit to Kiev, which wasn't previously reported but would have obviously been passed along to Ukraine at the time. The Polish leaders, well, mainly Duda, dramatic display set the stage for his meeting with Johnson right before the later trip to Kiev, therefore convincing Zelensky that he does indeed have a credible means to perpetuate the conflict with the views of ending it on better terms. That's what it was. Had it not been for Duda making a big show out of his country's opposition to the draft peace treaty and pledging his support for Ukraine with Johnson, then Zelensky might have doubted Poland's commitment to their alliance, thus saving the peace process. The newfound insight that Poland was just as much to blame as Britain for sabotaging spring 2022 peace talks vindicates Confederation Party chairman and newly elected MEP Grzegorz Braun for what he said in an interview over the weekend. I think this was unredacted. He shared his concerns about Poland once again being exploited by the Anglo-American Axis to usher in another new world order that would follow his country's sparkling World War III in the coming future, just like the role that it played for them in 1939. The risk of World War III breaking out is now higher than it's ever been since the Cuban Missile Crisis, due to the US dangerous game of nuclear threats with Russia, and the only reason why everything got to this point in the first place is because Poland sabotaged spring 2022 peace talks. You know, when I'm reading this, it's just... Had it never agreed to that February's informal alliance with the UK and Ukraine, or if Duda would have reconsidered his country's commitment to it, then those likely wouldn't be any such a serious risk at present. As Braun said later in his interview, there is now a very real chance that Polish meat, you know, Polish soldiers, Polish people, Polish meat, could be thrown into the Russian grinder to follow the 500,000 Ukrainian troops who were already killed in this conflict. If Poland conventionally intervenes in Ukraine, then the risks of World War III breaking out would instantly spike, which could turn his worrying about its historical role in global affairs into prophecy. As you know, just reading this makes my nervous system, yes. And Poland did it again. And I say the name of the country. I have many Polish viewers. I apologize for, I apologize to you guys for how Polish-speaking government acts. But you have to keep in mind one thing, and I think this is very important to take away from this. None of those people who are in power are working, keeping in mind the good livelihood of their cities, of the citizens of the countries, because they don't have the sense of belonging. They might tell you they are Polish, they are this, they are that, they are Americans. You know that the government in United States, they actually want to destroy United States. And that's how those so-called leaders are acting. This is the government of the globalists. They don't have a country. I think they operate from the, if they have a country, if they have a land, it's like hell. They operate from the hell state, if I can put this way. Horrible news. The links will be attached down below this video in the description box. You can read it yourself if you haven't come across this already. One comment of the day is from my solo video yesterday from John Ward, who says, "Dear Anya, many people, including Scott Ritter and others, has reported that the United States is ridiculously behind in the manufacturing of weapons, including weapons needed to protect the homeland." Yes, indeed. Thank you for your comment. You see, and here is the point. So how they are going to pull off any of those projects, any of those wars and conflicts, if they are not able to produce those weapons, right? If they are having delays and shortages, but they are creating the agenda of fear and threatening and mobilization, conscription, all of this. But if they don't have enough weapons manufactured, what's the point of all of this? How are they gonna pull it off? I have no idea. Sorry for the noise, guys. I will end this video here. Thank you so much for watching, for hitting this like. I appreciate it very, very much. For subscribing, liking, sharing the videos. Your support means to me more than I can put into words. If you would like to support my work, the best way to do it is by taking a look and making a purchase of my latest, very, very new, very exciting collaboration with Scott Ritter. This is a book about the Ukraine, the events from the beginning of this conflict and prior, what events led to this conflict. The book is available on Amazon and Clarity Press. You can click on the links down below. You can also support me via PayPal. Join my mailing list. If you follow me on Instagram, you will definitely see more pictures from beautiful Moscow. And some of my pictures too, because it's personal account. And join my mailing list just in case. With this being said, guys, have a wonderful day, lots of love, and remember, we are the leading edge and we are saving humanity. Bye everyone.